Interrogate. Dude, I'm so stupid. I'm so dumb, bro. Like, I just realized what you were talking about because we're playing with Ike. Yeah, Ike, get in here. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I was kind of hoping that something would get announced by now, but who knows?
To the battle royale genre, this promising prototype of what would go on to be called an extraction shooter had so many unique elements going for it, even if it was sometimes completely broken in its early access state. All these years later, now finally hitting 1.0, it's pretty shocking how much has changed, while it simultaneously remains exactly as exasperating as I remember it. The hands-off approach to onboarding that forces newcomers to beat their heads against its unforgiving mechanics for dozens of hours before claiming even a single victory captures the same relentless challenge I've always adored, while other frustrations...
Bro, I'm sorry. This guy... So we watched this guy's video on Arc Raiders. It's the same guy. You can tell by the voice. This guy's a fucking bozo, dude. Sorry, Chad. I'm trying to fix my earbuds. Remember yesterday how I said I had like all my audio submixed now? When I change it to... So I had it all submixed to where like things will go to where it go. Guy only has 4 fingers on both hands for sure. Yeah, he really does. I have it submixed to where like you guys hear the game a little bit. Ooh, Ray-Ban metas. Damn, dude. Big shot over here. Mr. Moneybags. He's got money for those Ray-Ban metas, huh? Let me run them pockets. But I got everything submixed now, and then I have separate audio profiles for like recording and for actual live content. But I keep forgetting to like change it back into, and then it also fucks with the submixes when I go from recording to live content. So I got to work on that shit too. So if the audio seems a little funky today, that's why. That's cool that you got a pair of Ray-Ban metas though. I bought them used, found a proper fucking drug junkie and got them for like $150. They're used only once, no receipt, obviously, so you know how they got them. Jeez,
like its continued bugs, poor technical performance, and inability to address an abundance of cheaters remains disappointingly worse than ever.
Nah, it's cool,
After
though.
over 120 hours with the 1.0 version, there's still something utterly compelling about the hyper-realistic combat simulation.
Did you say over 100 hours in 1.0 already? Jeez Louise, support your local dealer, you know?
And never-ending loot treadmills it puts you on. But I can't help but feel like this progenitor may have been left in the dust of the genre it spawned. Escape from Tarkov isn't just the original standalone extraction shooter, but also the one most fanatically adherent to the ruthless principles on which the genre was founded. Not only are you thrown into a deadly hellscape filled with lethal NPCs and merciless human opponents, you're also given absolutely no guidance in your quest for loot as you fight to survive. Practically none of the progression systems are explained to you. There's no map for you to look at while out in the field to indicate where you or the extraction points are, and you could easily...
Okay, chat, it's a mill sim. Who? Okay, never mind.
Spend tens of hours studying weapon attachments and ammo types just to understand how the heck to use the tools of death you'll find on your journey. In some ways, I really admire how unapologetic Tarkov is. Its beautifully exacting game design and sense of discovery that takes place across hundreds of lessons learned the hard way can be incredibly rewarding. But then there are times where it's all just so dang frustrating, like how atrociously the UI and menus are organized, as if they were designed specifically to offend you. Whether or not the payoff of finally feeling comfortable enough to bring your best equipment out and try for a
How many times have you been banned on Twitch, Ike?
proper extraction is worth it will ultimately depend on a couple things: your tolerance for pain and your drive to master something designed to really test your expertise of systems Tarkov refuses to teach you.
Brother, what is this guy aiming at? Like, my aim's bad, but this guy's aim is atrocious.
I find myself somewhere in the middle, sometimes mesmerized by its impenetrable and challenging rough edges, while other times just downright disgusted by janky design decisions. For instance, I really got a kick out of figuring out various armor protection levels and corresponding ammo penetration ratings, even though it oftentimes proved to be a complete maze and came with an extremely harsh learning curve of figuring out why I died instantly in one raid but survived getting shot 20 times in the next. For me, this was unforgiving in all the right ways, and a noted lack of
20 hours and 1.0 still doesn't know how to aim, lean, move. No, nothing. I would like to point at your attention to the bottom left of his screen. Oh, he's playing PvE. He's playing PvE. Two name changes, one for sexual content, one for driving and handling my phone. I was on red light, caught a Pokemon, got banned for a month. IGN, dude. You guys have got to get some gamers in your midst if you're gonna be doing these types of reviews. This guy is playing PvE, which, okay, for a review, I get it. You don't want to go up against the sweats. Next ban is permanent, so I'm a good boy now. Yeah, probably a good idea. You don't need to go up against sweats for a review, so I get it. PvE, that's fine. It is. I play PvE. I mean, whatever. He's playing PvE for a review. That's fine. But at least get someone that can like aim, understand design and mechanics. And I mean, this is the same guy that did the Arc Raiders review that said that it was less than desirable. We haven't had a content update in 3 weeks, and the game is still at the top. Ever talk about Arc Raiders like that again, I'll find you.
Handholding is something I connect with much more than the growing number of games that annoyingly treat you like you're stupid with ongoing tutorials. On the other hand, memorizing maps over the course of 10 hours apiece was less entertaining, specifically because this meant I frequently spent 20 minutes wandering around in search of an exit or a mission objective that was only described to me in the vaguest of terms. It seems like the community's solution here is to use—
That's the point! You're not supposed to know exactly what to do. They want you to explore the map. Bro.
Use online tools to figure this stuff out, so it's sort of baffling that they wouldn't just integrate one of those directly. So, with everything that frustrates me about Tarkov, what kept me playing for well over 100 hours, and what will likely keep me playing for hundreds more over the next year?
Wait, he's in the training area now. Sorry, I'm paying very close to what he's doing on the bottom left, because now he's in a training area.
Well, it's the fact that once you put in the time to dig your way through all the layers of grime and obtuseness, you'll find a pretty stellar extraction shooter that is quite hard to put down. Combat is an incredibly tense process of listening for rustling footsteps nearby and leaning out from behind cover to take precise shots, where a single bullet is all it could take to end another player's run or put down a marauding NPC. Running around with your rifle's flashlight blaring is an invitation for every enemy on the map to head in your direction with the aim of taking the gear from your corpse.
Didn't he have his
And
flashlight
extracting
on for
with
like
your
5
loot is
minutes
almost
at the very
always
beginning of the video?
accompanied by a deep sigh of relief. NPC factions, including bosses, add a really interesting element of surprise and randomness to raids too, where your best laid plans go sideways when you run into an unexpected badass.
Yeah, labs.
They range from a psychopath chasing you around with a giant sledgehammer to creepy cultists who try to stab you with poison daggers. Discovering these things organically and either getting destroyed by or besting especially tough enemies to claim their loot kept me invested in exploring maps, even when navigating.
Why do you have his gun pointed at the floor? And second, what was up with the dude on the stairs that he didn't shoot? He's playing PvE. There's no way that he's playing with someone in PvE. He should have like
Hitting them was
what is this
sometimes
guy
an
doing?
enormous pain.
But he shot this guy.
When you're not raiding, you'll spend an almost equal
confused.
amount of time with the tasks any extraction shooter worth its salt will have you doing, managing all the loot back at your hideout and using it to unlock cool stuff. The UI built around those activities is downright bad, and you'll have to work to figure out some of the unintuitive systems that compose them. But the loot game is just about the best one out there once you do. It puts you on a beautiful treadmill that realistically takes thousands of hours to properly complete. That rewarding sense of forward momentum isn't always there, as you'll spend lots of time just grinding for cash by selling everything you find out on raids to vendors and stuffing your pockets with an absolutely obscene amount of nails and screw nuts to craft items you need back at your base. But it's hard to argue that developer Battlestate Games hasn't created one of the longest, most consistently enjoyable...
All right, I have an idea, chat. From now on, what we're going to do, anytime they put out a review on a game that we like, we're going to review their review and then post it.
Progression systems out there.
And we're going to give
the
them
upgrades
a score.
in question range from facilities in your hideout that let you do things like restore your damage taken for previous raids faster, store more loot in your stash, or test out your weapons at a firing range, almost all of which are genuinely worth the effort to unlock, though many of those demand a whole hell of a lot of resources in order to do so.
Either.
You'll also have an absolutely enormous list of story missions and side quests to complete, special items to unlock from vendors by exchanging rare materials, and more.
They just hop in to play the game and realize, I have no idea what I'm doing. And then they probably hired a Sherpa instead of talking to someone that is actually like playing the game actively every single day. I don't know.
Missions run the gamut of killing a certain amount of enemy combatants or looting specific items while out on raids. Two more involved plot-focused stuff, like a side quest where I set up camcorders all over a warehouse to record myself killing people, presumably to then cut it into a sick highlights reel.
Wait, what?
Sure, actually chatting with each of the vendors, who only speak Russian and have little in the way of personalities, is a waste of time that only highlights how not great the story is. But in a game about loot and long-term progression goals, Tarkov absolutely nails that bit, with a truly brilliant Sisyphean grind. One of the upsides of bothering to learn each of Tarkov's 11 maps is that they're all quite diverse and are filled with unique takes on the extraction format. On one map, I fought my way through military bases and bunkers and had to stand my ground while a massive armored train arrived to spirit me and my loot away. While on another, I wandered through the woods and the wreckage of a crashed airplane while constantly looking to the horizon for snipers due to a distinct lack of cover. Another level requires keycards to enter and is filled with incredibly good loot, but also has equally formidable foes stalking the halls.
That gave me visual aids. It did, yeah. I've only ever played labs once on Tarkov, and I immediately got off of it because it was fucking. We ran into a cheater immediately, and it was obvious, and I was just like, yeah. Well,
another still is just a massive shopping mall filled with stores waiting to be looted. Learning the ins and outs of these levels can be a bit painful at the outset, especially since some things are quite annoyingly unclear, like how the boundaries of most maps are never explained and lethally enforced. For example, in one level, you'll get sniped by unseen enemies without warning if you walk beyond the ill-defined borders, and in another, you'll get immediately blown to pieces due to the edges of the level being a...
Brother, there's a sign right to your right. Skull, crossbones, what else do you want?
Literal minefield. Unfortunately, Tarkov's intentionally punishing design is marred by completely unintentional issues that have made this full launch much harder to...
No, but sorry, it's not funny. No, I've not watched the documentary yet, but I did hear that somebody may have said something in the streamer awards to Kaizen about it.
To enjoy. At least in these first couple of weeks
I'm
with
gonna watch
1.0, there are still
Sign plus broken fence. Yeah, I think it's safe to go this way. Dude, this guy has like 2 brain cells fighting for supremacy right now.
numerous bugs I would have hoped to have been cleared up after
Visual
so many
cues
years in early
don't,
access,
like, register with
characters
this
getting
guy.
caught on objects or clipping through walls, desync and rubber banding that monkeys with hit registration, loot that's visible but painfully lodged in the environment so it can't be picked up, and numerous issues with the already ugliest sin menus that make navigating them even more frustrating. And although the servers have never exactly been speedy, it's still pretty shocking that it took me about 5 minutes of loading every time I wanted to enter into a match, during which time my menu was locked up so I couldn't even fiddle with my inventory or engage in stash organizing busy work while waiting.
Wait,
Even more alarming
if
is
you're waiting that long to get into a PvE match, and you're in a duo, that's something with one of your two's connection. It shouldn't take that long to get into a PvE match, ever.
the continued prevalence of cheaters, who continue to plague the PvP servers so they can sell their ill-gotten items back to the people they've ripped off via an in-game trading market. It's all the usual stuff like wall hacks, aimbots, and moving it faster than normal speeds, but in a game where all your loot is on the line, not doing a better job to mitigate this kind of stuff is pretty hard to swallow. In fact, it was such an issue in my first 10 hours that I decided to spend the vast majority of my time for this.
I mean, okay, so hold on. Holy shit, he's on PvP. Jester, I'm not going to ignore that. I'll talk about that after this video, because there's a lot. There's a lot.
This review just focusing on Tarkov's PvE mode for my sanity's sake, which removes other players entirely aside from those you bring with you. For a sweaty PvP tryhard like myself, forsaking the competitive
Sweaty PvP tryhard himself? Did he just say that? He was playing PvE the whole time. He's still playing PvE.
mode goes against every instinct I have, but with the exploitable state of the PvP servers as they are, it was definitely the right choice. Even if you can look past a lot of the jankiness, which I generally can, you still might be infuriated by the current monetization model. Now, normally cost has no actual impact on the quality of a game's content, but Tarkov is a bit of an exception in that its uber premium packages come with straight up pay-to-win perks that are just about as nasty as can be. Over the course of the past 2 weeks, I progressively purchased all 4 of Tarkov's escalating packages in order to try them out firsthand, which range from the standard $50 version up to a whopping $250 version. And each one offers more appallingly game-changing boosts than the last. The benefits granted are incribly powerful boosts that give you quite an advantage. You can get an exclusive safety pouch that's up to 50% larger, allowing you to keep more of your valuable items upon death. Certain hideout upgrades that offer huge benefits can be unlocked automatically.
There's one person, and I think I can find the video, that talked about the streamer rewards, and I think he hit it right on the head. I'll try
like
to
a
find that
massive
video
amount of additional storage space that normally costs millions of in-game dollars and rare materials to acquire. Most outrageous of all, though, are the boosts to vendor reputations that would otherwise take dozens upon dozens of hours to earn, which are a pathway to purchasing better gear that gives you a huge leg up on progression. It's so insane and shameless that I honestly felt bad playing alongside my friends who had the standard edition.
The only okay. There are a few things that you get when you buy the higher editions, but mainly the main thing you get is more stash. It's not.
Escape from Tarkov is the extraction shooter that started it all, and many of its dense mercurial systems are fascinating to learn and master at your own pace, as it viciously refuses to hold your hand. I genuinely love that unapologetic challenge, but an equal number of things about it are obnoxious, janky, or just plain scuffed to an unacceptable degree. That includes its subpar performance and bugginess, its absolutely atrocious UI, and its unmitigated plague of cheaters. there is still a stellar, tense, and realistic FPS with one of the best progression treadmills ever made buried underneath all that, feeding you interesting things to do for hundreds of hours. But if the jankiness doesn't entirely smother its promise, the absurd pay-to-win options that completely undermine much of Tarkov's difficulty come very close. There are still plenty of good times to be found for those with the gumption to push past a whole heck of a lot of glaring issues. But with more polished extraction shooters entering the fold since its initial arrival in 2018, Escape from Tarkov's 1.0 version becomes difficult to recommend in 2025.
He gave it a 6. I forget. What did he give? What did he give our creators? I forget. What did he give our creators? Didn't he give it like a 4? I can't remember. Okay, so on to the next thing. This guy has no idea.